All right, so I got a little video to do on Wolf Richter's website. Economy surprises to downside, growth near zero. Atlanta Fed GDP now forecasts just about nailed it. And again, their forecast was revised, double revised. First quarter GDP. It's absolutely freaking horrible. So he's saying that, yeah, they've just about nailed it. Before I get into that, I want to just do kind of a reply to some of the comments and things I saw when I just did that video about this new car I got, this 2015. You know, it's a couple years old. But again, these are $30,000 cars. A 2015 Nissan Leaf with 14,600 miles on it, okay? $30,000 car new. Jason at 4, Automobile Apocalypse, reading the stuff he reads. Leases being turned in for epic decline in sales, resale value. There's a place that I just went and bought this in Lutz, Florida, known as Tampa Hybrids, I believe is their store name and website. And that's all they do. They get these off-lease things, bring them in, any little things they clean them up, resell them, done. So and it was listed as $9,999. Out the door, $11,000. Taxes, title, little $300, whatever fee, dealer fee. And I almost thought about, can we waive that? And I said, you know what? I'm not even going to ask. My conscience won't even let me ask this car dealer, which it was, it's not like a dealer, but it's just, and it was actually a little family-run shop because I talked to a lady in there. She would tell me, it's a family business, which is great. And that's all they specialize in. Toyota Priuses, hybrid, full electric. It was great. But I'm trying to think what I was just about to say. I just kind of lost my train of thought on that one. But to see a family involved in something like that's fantastic. But again, I'm offering them, or not offering, but it's $10,000. Their little $300, such and such dealer prep fee, whatever you want to call it. That's the only fee they added on to it. And I asked them, and they told me up front anyways. Again, my conscience wouldn't allow me to say, can we just wipe that little fee off? I'm not even going to talk you down the car. Nope. Not at all. I'm going to take that car, and I'm going to gladly pay you your $300 fee. Because I just got a $30,000 car 2 years ago for $10,000. Cost me $11,000 total. Taxes, and transfer, tag fee, etc. I just got a car for truth be told, $11,100 and some change. So some people, I said I did the video, big F you to the oil cartel. Jason, man, Tico uses oil and coal and stuff, so that you're not really telling them F you. Well, actually, yes, I am. In 2008, when gas prices were like $2 and they shot up to $4. Matter of fact, some places I think were sub $2, but 2008 rolled around, prices started, so 2008 comes around, as Lindsey Williams correctly predicted, they're going to push the price to $150 a barrel. Prices were $4 plus, 380 something, 390 here, depending on which one you want. Your premium, forget it. I've had Tampa Electric the entire time, and their prices didn't really move for the most part during that time frame. They certainly didn't double. They certainly didn't even go up 25%. I don't even know if they went up at all. There was one around here that asked for, can we get a rate? Can we bump the rates up? And I think it might have even got declined. But I don't even know if that was in 2008. It's the only one I can remember. And I think that's way north of where I'm at. So different electric company. On average, the U.S. pays people 12 cents a kilowatt. Okay, that's average. We're paying 6 to 7 cents here, depending on peak or off peak, whatever. 6 to 7 cents a kilowatt. You follow me? So when I looked online, it said at 12 cents a kilowatt, you could fill this thing up for $3.48 and go, almost or around, again, depending on how you drive, AC, 80 to 100 miles. And if you just say the 100-mile part of it to make the math easy, they said it's $3.48 at 12 cents a kilowatt. Okay, I'm half that, maybe 7 cents. So half of $3.50, $1.70, $1.75. Let's just round it off to $2 for Jason at 4. I'm gonna drive this thing 80 to 100 miles for $2. Nah, get out of it. Get the hell out of here. It's not happening. No, actually, yes, it is. So point being, I still say F you to the oil cartel, because while they made everybody who bought gasoline pay out the nose for gas, the electric companies didn't get it really affected. At least mine here in Tampa. So my argument is still the same. F you to the oil cartel. You can play games on Wall Street and the COMEX and push your barrel of oil around all you want. Did not affect me. Someone else said, well, but, crap hits the fan situation. How are you going to charge that car? Okay, I've got a question for you guys. Same situation, crap hits the fan situation. Everything's down. How do you fill up your gas? Your car with gas? And in that situation, aren't the gas stations probably overrun with people fighting for the last remaining gas? You know what I mean? Bringing barrels down there, shotguns, and hey, get away, it's mine. In that scenario that you brought up, isn't that going to happen? And even if it doesn't, there's only a limited supply. Maybe you get down 300 miles, you burn your gas, which is typical, 300 miles for a full gas tank, average vehicle. Now what? By the time you get down the road to the 300 miles, the chaos is there too. And on the way there, you're probably met with all kinds of chaos. Makes no sense. However, I'll sit here and chill because I've got everything I need in my house. I've got all my prepper items. I'll be here for months and months and months. And I have 2,000 watts of solar panels with an inverter and a second one sitting on the shelf right over here right now on standby, just in case. I say standby, it's in the box. None of it's hooked up. It's in my garage. The main inverter is in there too. The charge controller, got all that stuff. So I can not only supply some power to the house if needed, I can say, okay, well, I need to charge the old electric vehicle, and it's going to take like most all day to charge this thing. So, if it was like empty. So sun comes out, get the solar panels leaning up on the side of my house during the day. Guys, nothing in the house is going to work today. We are putting all the energy into that car today. Okay, charge the car in one day. Again, I could go roughly 100 miles. That means I could go down to the river, which I could actually walk to. River, fish. Maybe I got to go a little further to the next river, next town. I can go there, back. Oh, some other like-minded people who prepped a little bit but didn't prep enough. You need a ride? Where are you going? Oh, I got you covered. Get in. Electric vehicle, zero emissions. Get in. That's how Jay Snip's going to roll. So I just want to give a little video reply on a couple of those issues that were brought up on how Jay Snip 4 would be dealing with those. So anyways, Wolf Richter, economy surprises to downside. Remember my favorite saying? Oh, such and such unexpectedly fell today. Oh, the Dow Jones unexpectedly. Haven't heard that in a long time because markets don't do anything but rally. Shouldn't rally, they rally. They should rally, of course they're going to rally. Nothing happening, they'll still rally. Rally. And then all of a sudden they start coming back down again. But I haven't heard the unexpectedly today. Now, the only thing I may have heard recently was, Le Pen unexpectedly goes on to the next round, No, actually, that was expected. So here, economy unexpectedly surprises to the downside, of course. Growth near zero, and Atlanta Fed GDP now forecasts just about nailed it. Lousy consumer spending and the weather. Blame the weather. They love blaming the weather. Inflation hits Fed's target. The U.S. economy surprised economists to the downside once again, a terrible habit it has picked up over the past years. GDP adjusted for inflation inched up only 0.7%. Compound annual rate of change. This means that if the economy keeps growing at this rate for 4 quarters in a row, economic growth for the entire year would be only 0.7%. And by the way, folks, this is the next week. Remember, we were supposed to do the deal with the debt ceiling, get some funding. They pushed it off and said, okay, we'll fund the government for an additional week. We'll deal with that next week because we had to deal with Obamacare, repeal and replace last week, which coincidentally didn't get dealt with. So the Congress got back 4 days. They've got 4 days to do something and got absolutely nothing done. And there's 3 critical things. Obamacare repeal and replace has to be done in order for the tax plan to, they have to work together. That's how they've got this set up. So if you can't have one without the other. Love and marriage. You can't have one without the other. That's how they set this up. So that's why it's so critical that they repeal and replace this Obamacare. Then we can move on to tax stuff and, of course, the debt ceiling. But as I've been saying, if there's some kind of war that breaks out, Korea, they nail one of our aircraft carriers, he'll get everything passed so fast it'll make your head spin. or at least the massive spending bill. Maybe not repeal and replace, but a massive unprecedented spending bill. Trillions of dollars at your door, Mr. Trump. Here you go. We'll see how that goes. By comparison, in 2016, economic growth was 1.6%, matching 2011 for the worst rate since the financial crisis. So 0.7% is ugly. No, I'm going to say it's fugly. Freaking ugly. It was the weakest growth since quarter 1, 2014. Not annualized growth from in quarter 1 from quarter 4 of 2016 was a near zero at 0.17%. If you want to round it, 0.2, according to the advanced estimate of the Bureau of Economic Analysis. This rate extrapolated to 4 quarters produces the 0.7% compound annual rate of change. This chart shows the rate of change going back to quarter 1, 2003, which don't waste your time. You don't need to look at this. Economists blame the weather. It was too warm this time around, rather than too cold, which is the usual explanation for quarter 1 debacles. Wasn't too cold this time, it was too warm. So warm weather has now caused bad economic conditions for quarter 1. But I thought terribly cold weather was the reason before that. Yes, you're correct. So if it's too cold or stays colder longer than normal, whatever, just colder, bad for the economy, and the numbers show it. Correct. But if it's warmer during quarter 1, which is essentially Christmas, Christmas and winter time, which should last 3 months, technically speaking. If it's too warm when it should be cold, bad for the economy. I thought it would be good for the economy. More people are outside, more people are doing stuff. What's going on here? And they blame the IRS refund checks that had been delayed due to last year's spectacular identity theft problem. Everyone blamed everything on these delayed refund checks, including the auto industry and the restaurant industry. Well, hold on, no. Auto industry, I just stimulated your economy personally. I just got a 2015 Nissan Leaf, fully electric vehicle, 10K. I just stimulated. Tampa Hybrids isn't blaming any sales problems on the delayed refund checks or bad weather. As a matter of fact, when I was there's 3 other couples, people looking at cars too. And I thought to myself, I'm glad I got in this one first. Because this has really low mileage. It's a 2015. And I think I'm sold before I even take this thing for a drive. So I went and took it for a drive. Was quite satisfied. Came back. And the salesman wasn't quite ready. He was working with somebody else. His little assistant guy came out. He's like, hey, I was talking to him anyways. He goes, oh, did you drive it with the economy mode off? I said, no, I just left it how it was. I think it was definitely on. He goes, oh, that's no fun. He's busy anyways. Go for another spin. Turn off economy mode this time. Okay. Take it back out. Get on the gas a little bit. Oh. Well, okay. I wasn't expecting that little bit of pep in the step from this little, thing that looks like kind of like a Prius. I was kind of put a smile on my face a little bit. That felt pretty good, actually. Son of a gun. This thing has got a little pep to it. So I came back. He said, how was that? I wasn't expecting that. It was kind of nice. He goes, yeah, I bought one too. I just started working here a little over a month ago. And I had to have one too. So I got one as soon as I started working here. He's in college, information technology, computer science. And I had to drop my ex-police car, Crown Victoria, across the street so I can come pick it up later that night because they closed at 3 p.m. And so he followed me after I paid and everything right across the street there. And I told him, I'll bring him right back. So I almost wanted to stop and just talk for a second. Like, hey, you say you're in computer science at USF? Yeah. Can I just ask you what kind of student loan debt you're looking at for that? He was getting out of the car, and I was like, I'm just going to let this one ride. So, all right, man, see you. Take care. I'm out. So, little mid-story bonus for you, if you will. So, anyways, it says, but by mid-February, a veritable tsunami of checks went out. And by the end of February, the IRS was pretty much caught up. So March should have been awash in consumer spending. But no, So we'll patiently wait for that miracle to happen maybe the second quarter. The positive factors in this crummy GDP number, 2 points here. Residential investment jumped 13.7%. Multifamily construction has become part of the historic construction boom in major cities around the country, and crane counting has become a thing. Wasn't there a big boom of the same sort back in, 2006, 7, and then we had, '08 punch us in the face? I think so. And point number 2, business fixed income investments jumped 10.4%. This includes the office construction boom that has reached historic proportions and is part of the crane counting thing and the renewed drilling activity in the oil patch. So it includes other things, but it also includes the office construction boom. However, office prices are getting crushed now. The rents are coming down from what, generally speaking, so this doesn't make sense now, does it? Trade overall didn't move the needle much. Exports rose 5.8% and thus added to GDP, but imports rose by 4.1% from a larger base than exports and reduced GDP. The net impact of both combined was essentially a wash. The real culprit for the crummy GDP reading? Consumer spending rose and thus added to GDP, but it was the smallest rise since quarter 4, 2009. Again, 2008-9. Here we go again. Yep, weak sales at auto dealers. It's not as if this is a surprise to people who read our musings on the auto industry and the warm weather, which dragged down sales by utilities. There were also some negative contributions from business inventory investment and spending by federal, state, and local governments, which fell 1.7%, the biggest drop in 4 stinking years. But don't worry, inflation is alive and well, and the Fed sees it too. The price index for gross domestic purchases rose 2.6%. This was up from 2% in quarter 4. Another measurement in the GDP report, the PCE price index, increased 2.4% in the quarter, up from just 2% in quarter 4. And the PCE index without food and energy, of course, the core PCE index, which the Fed likes to hang its hat on, rose 2%, up from 1.3% in quarter 4. This core PCE inflation index has now reached the Fed's target number, 2%. Personal income increased, but for the wrong reasons. The acceleration in personal income primarily reflected an acceleration in government social benefits to persons. Oh boy, disposable personal income adjusted for inflation inched up a single percent in the quarter compared to 2% in quarter 4. Let's focus on that. Consumer spending, personal income increased. Oh, people's jobs, you're getting raises. Good for you. No. The government gave more handouts out, welfare, which led to them spending the money, which is what happens when you give anybody money, period, right? So they're counting that. They're counting the money that the government has to give to them, and the money that they gave to them comes from you and me who work and don't get counted in that really, except for unless you and I get a raise, then we're counted in there. Well, personal income rose. Okay, great. But we're paying for these other people to go out and spend money that they then count and say, well, that's included. Don't you just love how this all works? Isn't this fascinating? It would almost be hilarious if it wasn't going to end so absolutely disastrously for all of us. It'd almost be hilarious. So he ends this by saying, how accurate were the forecasts? The New York Fed's nowcast, in its most recent forecast on April 21st, expected the economy to grow at an annual rate of 2.7% in quarter 1, compared to the 0.7 the BEA handed us today. So that forecast was unexpectedly off the mark. Blue chip consensus forecast cited by the Atlanta Fed's GDP Now yesterday was 1.3%. Ranging from 0.9 all the way up to 2.1%, so average 1.3. So too were they off target by about half. The Atlanta Fed's GDP Now forecast, last updated yesterday, which is a couple days old now, saw economic growth in quarter 1 of 0.2% annual rate, so even worse. but only slightly worse than the BEA's annual rate of 0.7%. So my hope yesterday that some internal gears might be jamming up the GDP Now forecast model because of its ugly forecast did not entirely come true. So kudos to the GDP Now model of the Atlanta Fed, which pretty much nailed it. Pretty incredible. This is not looking good. We got nothing done last week. Nothing done. Congress has 4 days at the end of April to... What did they do? What did they do? What happened? 3 critical things that should have been focused on. Repeal and replace Obamacare. Tax issue, the corporate tax remodeling, if you will, by Trump. And then finally, the big one. The one that really is the only one that matters. The big giant debt ceiling. How much more are they going to kick it and for how long? Can't wait to see. So, now we're at next week. I wonder what they're going to do this week. Are they going to get anything done? And I'm here to tell you, if they get nothing done this week, you know what next week is, don't you? The 11th. As a matter of fact, just to have an exact date, it'll be Tuesday of next week is the 11th. The date that the market dude, who's like almost never wrong, says that's the most worrisome date coming up that we really need to focus on for markets and stuff. What could possibly happen? Well, I just gave you an example. The first week already went by. We had 4 days. They did nothing. They now have 5 days, Monday through Friday, and maybe a weekend if they need it. Saturday, guys, we're staying late, pulling an all-nighter. And maybe they won't get anything done. So, we'll see. Take care.